Hello everyone and welcome back to Urban Rush. It's time to move on to photography now, because there would be nothing worse in my imagination than having an amazing wedding, having an amazing experience, and looking at the photos after and going,
And you can tell that my co-host Star Jones Eckford has put a lot of thought into this, because he's thinking ahead at his wedding, because he wants to capture that wonderful moment.
We're actually talking to my wedding photographer.
I know, that's what I was delicately getting at, but I didn't want to say anything.
It's my girl!
Angela Hubbard takes some amazing photographs. She takes photographs in the rock and roll world as well as the wedding world. The two worlds colliding would just be hilarious to me. How are you, Angela?
How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
How did you get into wedding stuff? Because when I first met you, I think you were doing rock and roll photography for the most part, weren't you?
I've been doing rock and roll for about 14 years and started doing weddings about 10 years ago, kind of by accident, because some of my friends were getting married, and they were not looking for the traditional posed wedding photography, so they were looking for something with a little rock and roll edge.
Well, and when I've looked at your stuff, that's really where you excel, is that area where it's not the staged photos necessarily, which you do very well as well, but you know, the ones where it's just the candid moments, and that's sometimes what people remember most. How much do you think about capturing the candid stuff?
Well, I love the candid, just the photojournalism and all the little details that go into a wedding, like anything from the candles to the back of the dress to the rings and the shoes. And
we're looking at one of my favorite pictures right now. This one here. Tell us about that one.
That was a bride in Malibu. And,
tough life.
She was just like, she was a princess on the beach, and they just, they had a small wedding, about 12 of them, and yeah, it was just a fairy tale come true.
It took me a second to see the "and" in there.
Yeah, I know. Everybody loves them.
But that's beautiful. This is such a simple shot, but it's so beautiful as well.
Thank you.
What kind of reaction do you get from the brides, the grooms, the families when they see your pictures? Because as we're flipping through some of them, I mean, you capture the moment not just of like of the whole event, the whole day. What is it like for you as a photographer to get the reactions?
I think communication plays a really big part in it, because I'm not the kind of wedding photographer that'll go, bye, I'll see you on your wedding day. We try and build a relationship. So by doing an engagement session before is really great, because you get to work with your couple beforehand.
And it would be nice for a couple, because I know that brides are nervous, grooms too, to be relaxed around the photographer, because it's such a nerve-wracking day.
Yeah.
Is that why you meet with them beforehand?
Well, we do an engagement picture, and then they have something nice by their guest table to enlarge, where people can sit around and talk about them, and have like a big engagement mat where people can sign.
Yeah.
And then they'll...
Well, and if you get their personality beforehand too, it must help you as a photographer just to understand what they're looking for stylistically and how to find that kind of stuff. We want to talk another element of your career as well, which is a really fun one, which is the rock and roll stuff that you do. You've been doing for a little while. Tell us a little bit about that. You're based out of LA now, for the most part?
I like to commute back and forth.
You don't like to, but you do commute.
Oh, we're looking at one of my favorite people right here. What's it like when you photograph a man like that?
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I've been really fortunate. Like, I feel like I have the best life in the world.
Now, how does it work as a rock and roll photographer? I mean, you go to a show like, I don't know, maybe Duran Duran. And, but what do you do with the pictures? Like, are you commissioned to take photographs by a publication, or do you take them and sell them? How does it work?
Usually I'm freelance for Rolling Stone and rollingstone.com, so I'm focusing more on them.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get this straight. You have to go to concerts all the time.
It's a tough job, Mike.
I know! What's up with that?
Look at this.
Who is this? Oh, sorry.
Scott.
Can we bring that one back up? That was Scott Whelan?
I think so, isn't it?
Scott Whelan,
yeah.
From
very
Velvet
nice.
Revolver.
How many pictures do you take at a rock show? Because, I mean, they're moving all over the place. It's not something you're planning. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, how many pictures do you take before you get that one that's the one?
I usually do about 60, and out of that 60, there's about 25 really stellar shots that I really love.
That's surprisingly little. I would assume that you'd be, you know, shooting a couple of hundred.
That's people like us.
Yeah, and hoping for 3, you know, like, but that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
Now, we've covered the wedding world, we've covered the rock and roll world, which are two things I knew about you, Angela. I did not know you took pictures of doggies and babies.
Babies and dogs. I have just been so blessed to work with my couples during their wedding photography that they asked me to come back into their family and photograph their expanding family.
Right.
For the most part, are kids pretty easy to work with? I mean, because that seems like a real challenge to me to try
They
and
have
get that
little
candid.
personality all on their own, so you have to get down to their level and, you know, work with them.
Right. So you got to hang out in color for a little while before you can take pictures.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite subject of all the things that we've been talking about? Babies, dogs, brides, grooms, rock stars. What's your favorite?
I just love people in general, and everybody's got a different characteristic, and I try and get that in my portraits, and that's what makes everything so unique.
And you have such a passion for what you do. I think that's what makes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you enjoy the weddings? I mean, when you're there, do you have an opportunity to just go, okay, this is a cool wedding. This one's going pretty well.
I love them so much because every wedding is so different. And I usually end up crying at most of them.
Do you really?
That's so sweet.
Angela, I want to look over and see some tears at my wedding. That's our deal right
absolutely.
there.
Thank you so much, Angela. Of all the things we're speaking about, go to angelahubbard.com. Have a look at some of her pictures. They are absolutely incredible. If you're looking for someone to take your shots, you might want to give Angela a call.
Yeah, hubbardphotography.com. Nice and easy to find, Angela. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
your
much.
time. I'm looking forward to working with you.
We're going to take a break.